I actually live on the other side of that mountain over there. I drove across that to get here. This is John Brown House. I had posted on this site, but I'm actually over this way today. See? And then here is the historical marker. It's on King Street in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. See, there is his marker. You can't see inside, but they offer tours. This is the outside of it. Super simple. Something else that is interesting is right on the corner of 2nd and King, right at the John Brown house, is a synagogue. It's the outside. I love it. Old-fashioned brick. It's beautiful. I had a cousin, he used to clean this place. See, it's beautiful. And I think at one time, they had a female rabbi, rather progressive here. I'm in Chambersburg. You can't see my outfit, but it looks like I'm casing a synagogue, God forbid, in these times, in this area of Pennsylvania. I'm going to take a picture of the sign so you can see it. There's a Facebook page called Chambersburg Remembrance, and someone brought up the John Brown issue. If you go on there, they were curious why it isn't commemorated. The locals view John Brown as a psychopathic terrorist killer who led his followers into destruction. Martin Delany might be the first black nationalist in the United States of America, and he had a Back to Africa movement. He was a doctor, etc. He was born into slavery. I think they fled Virginia because he got out that he had learned how to read through this little English primer that he found. He lived in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. I read a book about him when I lived in Georgia. That's how I found out about the history of the town that I lived in, because it wasn't taught in school. If you follow the attitude of the people who did not want to commemorate John Brown's visit here to that house, naturally, that's why they wouldn't tell us about it. So at one point, Kerstown, the Kerstown area of Chambersburg, was the black area. So we're right by Kerstown Square. I'm going to show it to you. This is Kerstown Square in Chambersburg. It's maybe a block, 2 blocks away from the center of town. In that book I read about Martin Delany, Kerstown was the traditional black area. If you look over that way, that's the Capitol Theater. Right behind the Capitol Theater is Black Avenue. My grandparents and my father used to live back there. This is the Martin Delany marker. I'm going to film it for you. He was never discussed or commemorated in this town at all. Like I said, I didn't learn about that until after I moved away. Here's a general area that it's in. All right, see this? There's no sign up. I thought it was John Wesley, African Methodist Episcopal Church. One of these in this area is AME and AME Zion. So anyway, there's a gentleman, he used to pastor this church. I don't know his name. And this was way after I had stopped going to church anywhere. And I didn't know he was the pastor. I believe I met him because he was taking pictures, and I was interested in photography also. So he looked exactly like Frederick Douglass. I think that's how it came up because I told him he looked like Frederick Douglass. I believe it was, and he told me that there was some plan at some point, maybe because of his resemblance, that they were going to try and do a reenactment of the meeting of Frederick Douglass and John Brown, but it was shot down. Someone who knows this gentleman could verify that information. God forbid I tell a fib. Didn't know he was the pastor, just knew him as a photographer, someone who had an interest in cameras. This is on Lincoln Way West, Lincoln Highway in Chambersburg. This is the Black Cemetery, and when I grew up here, I'm 52. My family moved here. I lived right down the road. When we moved here, literally you can walk right down. I used to play in the cemetery. My family's buried up here. This is Nigger Hill. That's what it was called. People around here called this Nigger Hill. This is where the niggers lived at. It's beautiful up here though. Look at this view. Look at that mountain over there. This is the view. I used to live in a house right down there where that car is. I actually live on the other side of that mountain over there. I drove across that to get here.
Continue on Lincoln Way West for 1